Hello everyone and welcome back to another high-level match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a best-of-7 series. I don't get to cast a whole lot of best-of-7s, but I have a best-of-7 series of Terran versus Protoss. Game number 1, it takes place on a map called Stargazers. And spotting right here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the blue Terran Has CVs, we have GuMiho, one of the spicier Terran players out there. And his opponent in the top left with the red Protoss pieces, he goes by the name of Has. And Has is certainly the spiciest Protoss player when it comes to playing StarCraft 2 at a high level. This guy, he out-Protosses every other Protoss out there, okay? I know that Protoss in general has a little bit of a cheesy reputation, at the very least below the tippity top of the skill level. Has certainly, is not shying away from any of this sort of thing. So, on the back of Stargazers, on the back of the main base, you have a pocket expansion that is blocked by 2 small mineral fields. What in the world was that, Has? So, it takes 8 trips. It would be a very... it would be a very ambitious probe to mine that all by itself. So, you know what? He brought a friend. Very important. Not exactly sure what the plan is going to be, though. So, obviously, GuMiho is well aware of the fact that he's going up against Has, and because of that, he will probably be playing... Let's just say that he's probably going to be playing a little bit cautiously, right? You can play cautiously by building all of your stuff on the other side of the map, trying to win the game really early before Has can really get out of control. Or, of course, you could play a safe approach instead, and it seems to me that that is exactly what Gumi is going for here, as he is going to go for his production structures over here, as well as the delayed command center. So, no CC on the low ground just yet. I guess the plan is to just, like, walk Stalkers into the opposing player's main? Is that the plan? Cybercore is about, well, 3/4 of the way done. It's gonna take a while, though. Yeah, so still 25 minerals remaining. These probes mine 5 minerals a trip. It's gonna be a while. Gumi is actually gonna go for his in-base expansion first. Is that the plan? No, I think he's just gonna build a starport in that location. My god, these guys, they're already, yeah, they're already throwing everything we know about StarCraft 2 out of the window. You'll love to see it. Yeah, so this is once again a hyper-aggressive opener here from Has. Gotta put down a gateway over here as well. There was no scouting whatsoever. This is still gonna take a while though, guys. Get to work. No, you guys are not even gonna return those minerals? What is going on? 2 minutes and 40 seconds into this game. Okay, I guess that these 3 probes are gonna return their cargo and then come... No, there's a 4th... Okay, there's 3 more coming across too. I thought maybe these guys over here would be tasked with mining all of this out as well, but apparently we're gonna do it a little bit differently. I'm already sitting with my left hand on my forehead right now, okay? I'm already getting a little bit confused here. Gumi has gone for a command center over here in the pocket expansion. So he sees this right now because there's a couple of Hellions driving on over in this direction too. So now he knows exactly what he's going up against. He notices that, wait a second. There's supposed to be a 2nd mineral field in that location too. Medevac though, just about to pop out already. And these Hellions, they may very well be headed on over towards the main base of the Protoss. At the very least, I think that was the original intent. Right now, getting those cars inside of the plane is going to be tricky. But it's an option, I guess. Anyways, Stalker is available. Warp gate here is done. Adepts do get warped in right now as well. These mineral fields are also still... This is such a mess. I love it. Okay, so let's see. It is Has who was planning on being hyper-aggressive in the early game. But that does mean that he's got all of his units on the other side of the map. Well then, that now means that those units on the other side of the map have to essentially win the game. Well, maybe they'll be able to do so, because now there's Adepts inside of the main mineral line of the Terran player. Okay, 2 of them do get surrounded. Jimmy the Marine, Mark over here as well, getting quite a bit of damage done. SCV's getting a good wraparound, and 22 probes for 6 SCVs. I think that's a trait that Gumi will take any day of the week. That being said, he needs to be careful. Now, the siege tank is available, and that is going to make this defense way easier. Yeah, keep in mind, this is also... Okay, GG is cool. This is also a 1-base all-in from Has. And it's Gumi who obtains the victory. Game number 2. We find ourselves on Moondance. This time around, we do have GuMiho sending an SCV straight across the map at the start of the game. Sadly for him, though, he just got spotted as well, because the same thing is happening right now for Has. Okay, wall off on top of the ramp. Love to see that. Gas guys are coming up at a conventional time as well. SCV? Nah, he doesn't have minerals. I was thinking for a second maybe he's going to go for like a second barracks over here in this location, but that would be a little bit crazy. I mean, maybe he's going to proxy the factory. Okay, at this point I wouldn't be all too surprised by anything, but I think it's just going to be an engineering bay block, yeah. Engi bay blocks, of course, very popular, very annoying, especially when you don't know exactly what's happening. The thing is, though, against Has, you might be accidentally shooting yourself in the foot, because great, now you have less minerals. Normally, Protoss players would want to go for an expansion around the 20 supply mark, which would be coming up very soon. However, yeah, that is not the case. Second pylon has already gone towards the other side of the map. Cybercore only just now started up, though, so... I mean, it's not done yet, right? Like, I mean, it's at the conventional timing, but it's still going to be about a half minute or so until it finishes. So this pylon is rather early. That is something that GuMiho is also picking up on at this point, I think, because otherwise... Yeah, why would he be going with the SCV into the main base? He must be counting pylons. I wouldn't mind seeing some of these Terran units heading on down to this. It's a Stargate? Are you kidding me? Really? Stargate together with a shield battery. Okay, so yeah, SCV does get down towards the low ground here. This is bad. This is really bad right now for Has. This Stargate, I think the plan is to heal like Void Rays or Oracles or something like that up to full HP using the batteries. There is a pylon going up in the back of the main base of the Terran player. But the problem is it's been spotted, right? So a Zealot is going across the map. This Engi bay is actually a mistake. That engineering bay probably should have been units instead. But I do believe that our Terran player is still going to be A-okay here. I mean, yeah, a Void Ray is coming up right now. They can always pop into the bunker. Yeah, SCV helping, or the SCVs rather, helping out as well. They also, ooh, nice little bit of control right there. Yeah, we'll be able to prevent this Void Ray from spawning, and now suddenly this is an absolute disaster. Has is trying his very best to end this series as quickly as possible, but so far things are not going particularly well for him. So once more, it's a one base opener right here from Gumi. And this is very much so the, what do you call this? Like the image, right? The image of Has working against him. He's now forced to go for a Nexus right over here at the 9 o'clock position. Everybody knows at the pro level that this is what he likes to do. And sometimes he can still pull rabbits out of hats. But against, you know, top 20 players, it is very difficult to win in the first place. But especially when they are... The reputation, that's what I was looking for. Especially when they know your reputation. GuMiho obviously is... Well, not a stranger to playing weird games himself. Yeah, you might get outmatched a little bit. Now, there is another pylon. There is another pylon with another probe and another gateway coming up as well. GuMiho was just driving that Cyclone proudly towards the other side of the map, but he did not see that pylon. Has he seen the third Nexus? Not yet, but I think he's going to find out about that. Well, the third base Nexus anyways. In just a moment. He's going to head on over into the main base. Second Cyclone is out. Banshee also coming up. That is weird. That is very strange. Yeah, so he's looking around right now. I think he's gonna find his base here momentarily. At least that would make sense. Banshee is gonna be pretty great as well, because there's not a whole lot of anti-air in this sort of army here from Has, who is now following up his early game cheese with early game cheese by going for, well, a robo in the main base. Yeah, Observer, and I guess maybe a Prism on the back of it. Doesn't even really need the Prism, I suppose, but for juggling it is still very nice to have. Anyways, this Cyclone has looked everywhere except the one location where that Nexus is built. Now he does see an Immortal. Okay, nice force fields. That is a start. That is a start for sure. Command Center on the low ground. Okay, he also finds this pylon here, but Command Center on the low ground not done just yet. Gumi is going to send a Banshee across. Luckily for this Banshee, it will fly across that base as well that... Well, is now the lifeline right here for our Protoss player. Jimmy, okay, reincarnated in this game. He is gonna get sniped by one of those stalkers. Yeah, the Banshee now scouts that base, and it's gonna head on over straight towards the main. At this point, there's a whole lot of nothing available to defend the main mineral line. Robo Facility, though, is nice here, because he can get detection, but I don't think he's really gonna care too much about that base either. Yeah, I think the main... Oh, no, he's going to warp in a couple units. I thought maybe he was going to just go completely all in here. Just warp in as many units as possible, but honestly, what's the plan? Yeah, so the CC lives. That is important. At least this gets deflected, but that now means that this push over here is basically deflected as well because, well, the Banshee, I mean, it's just going around, dealing a little bit of damage. It forced a warp in inside of the main base, and that now means that he doesn't have enough army to continue this aggression. I say that, okay. Prism would usually not be needed if you have a speedy warp-in pylon right over there, but you can still elevator units straight into the main base. There's still 3 siege tanks available, though. There's still a Cyclone out as well. That Immortal has to put in a lot of work. Okay, good start. Raven also drops an auto turret. Not bad at all. Problem is, there's so many Marines. Yeah. So, despite the fact that that was really good control right there from our Protoss player, right? At least, you know, dealing with the heavy hitters right there from the Terran player quite nicely. He doesn't have much against just a big chunk of Marines. So, we're talking 15 Marines at this point against 1 Immortal and 5 Stalkers. There's, you know, that's not even taking into account the other units here available for Terran. Oh, okay, so now we're going to transition towards a macro game, right? Right? I'm sure. I'm sure, guys. Any moment now. This is something that Has loves to do, right? I love how Has's styles, though, are completely on the extreme end of things, right? Either it's like heavy macro, 17 bases, 100 workers, or it's like winning at the 4-minute mark. Ooh. Nothing in between. Okay, well, at least the Immortal got popped out. Doesn't matter, though. Losing those units, losing that Prism, it's a bit too much, and Has decides to tap out. Next up, we find ourselves on Inside and Out. So far, this best-of-7 speedrun for Has is not working out all too well. He's got to be careful here, man. He clearly wants these games to end very early, but yeah, GuMiho has been doing just fine. Not really in a whole lot of trouble here in general. Okay. Nexus on the low ground. Cybercore inside of the main base. Pylon on the low ground as well, I would imagine. Second gas? Yeah. This is looking an awful lot like a standard game right here, Has. If the second pylon goes down over here, I think it is. Oh my god. Amazing. Didn't think it was possible. Didn't think he had it in him, guys. But there it is. Normal opener here from the Protoss player, it seems. Command center inside of the main base. This is one of those moves that I highly recommend you make pretty much every single time if you're a ladder hero. I mean, especially below Master League, it's so common for everybody to just copy what the pros do and build the command center on the low ground. But honestly, there's a little flight from here to there. You'll probably be able to make up for that small loss by, yeah, playing just ever so slightly safer. I understand that it's, you know, not something you'll see all too often at the pro level, but I agree, man. If I'm GuMiho here and I'm going up against Has, going for the CC instead of the main base, he can probably make up for that loss by, that mineral loss, I suppose, right? Because he'd have to fly over for a little bit. But you can probably make up just by playing ever so slightly tighter than Has over the next couple of minutes. Anyways, it is... I was going to say anyhow and anyways at the same time. Made a new word. It's a Twilight Council right here for Has. Probe, okay. Scouts a barracks. That is probably not much of a surprise. He also does see that reactor. Robo facility on the back of it right now, too. Okay. Reaper, scouting his side of the map, making 100% sure that even though that probe showed up at a bit of a curious timing, that there's no Stargate built here on the left side of the map now. This is, of course, a good location right here for a Stargate on Inside and Out. Supply depot is even going to come up in that location too, just on the off chance that he needs a little bit more reaction time. But no, it's going to be a charge opener here. So once more, aggression coming out of our Protoss. Apparently has mined all of the gas that he needed, and he decides to pull all of the probes out of those assimilators. And now he is using that mineral income here to his advantage. So this is a very small amount of workers, but an awful lot of mineral income. Yeah. So this is one of those things that, I mean, this graph will be combining both gas as well as minerals, right? Has is done. Has is done when it comes to making probes. So what he's going to do here instead is just warp in zealot after zealot after zealot. And it's up to GuMiho to defend against that. So yeah, it's just going to be, how many gateways here in total? We're currently on 1 gateway. We have 5 about to finish up here. That would make 6. I've done the numbers. I've amazing wall here, actually. Bit of a cursed one, but it's working out just fine. Hellions, though, do get into the main base eventually. Okay, well, killing any workers here is super good. Keep in mind, it's just going to be Zealots, right? He doesn't even have gas to warp in any Stalkers or anything that shoots up. So now suddenly this becomes very awkward. I mean, there are 2 Stalkers available, but they're currently inside of that prism that's going across the map. Once more, a bunch of Hellions, as well as a Reaper inside of the main base. It turns out to be quite the nuisance, as he just destroyed like a third of our Protoss players' economy. Big warp window inside of the main base. Don't lose that prism. Don't lose that prism. Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, I don't see how you're going to be able to do much here without that prism. Yeah, he starts up a new prism. Okay, that's an option. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, Stalker, sure. Warp into, or walk rather into that marine line. Sure, not a problem. We could do a little bit more of the same. That is always an option. I mean, rather than GGing out right now, which I understand because he did kill 9 SCVs. Rather than GGing out right now, you could just test the waters once more. But obviously at this point, it's no longer going to be a surprise right here for Gumi, right? He decides to go for 2 additional barracks. There's a bunker over here as well. He's going to get rid of those unbuildable plates too, just to make sure that he's not accidentally going to fire those. Or fire on those, rather. But, I mean, yeah, no. Yeah, no, that ain't it. Siege tank also available at this point. Okay, Cyclone inside of a medevac. Could have been amazing. Sadly, Gumi right there, letting that one slide. I don't see how this is going to work out. That supply depot even now. Being charged at. I don't think that was the original intent for that one hero supply depot here, but at the very least it's going to waste the cooldown of the only unit that, well, Mr. Has has available at this point. So he still has not resaturated his gas geysers. He adds on an additional gateway. Apparently the man still has a dream, but I just don't see how. Yeah, if he does not GG out, there's gonna be a timing attack from the Terran player here before too long. And that timing attack is gonna have like 4 times the amount of units that Protoss will be able to muster at that point. Even these Hellions right now being charged at too. That is something you'll want here as a Terran player. It really doesn't matter if those Hellions get wrecked. Did he just kill that prism as well? Yeah, the prism went down once again because there's a... Wait, no, I don't think it actually went down. Oh, I thought it went down already. Already 2 prisms have died, though. Maybe it didn't just get sniped by the Viking and a third one already came across. I mean, this is super over. It doesn't really matter anyways. Has, he can try his best to... No, there's no way. He's not even using the energy right here on the Raven. GG is cold, though, and it's GuMiho who wins game number 3. I gotta say, casting this series, it certainly beats my original plan. I actually put on my workout clothes. I was gonna go for a run, but apparently it's incredibly cold outside right now and it's freezing. So yeah, maybe going for a run when the roads are slippery is not ideal. That said, it's currently sunny. I figured I was gonna switch around. I was gonna go for a run first and then make a video afterwards, but instead we're switching to a run right now. Hope it'll be better after this cast, but I gotta say, sitting inside, nice and warm, casting and talking about StarCraft 2, definitely, yeah, definitely beats going out in the cold and potentially slipping. Don't recommend that. Anyhow, what exactly is the plan going to be right now? What exactly do we want to do, Has? We've been speedrunning this series so far, but it's been an absolute failure. It has not been going well at all. Honestly, GuMiho just seems a little bit better overall here, and... well, sometimes you gotta accept that fact. I was thinking that once more there was gonna be a second pylon proxied on the other side of the map. Maybe that was the original intention here, but he does decide to go for the pylon right here on the low ground, right next to that nexus. Or nexus. Haha! Okay. We have a second gas. Are we gonna go Twilight Council again? We have the gas for one. No, no, no. We're gonna go for Warp Gate as well as a Stalker here first. Fair enough. This time around, we do have a Reaper heading up north. So apparently GuMiho starting to catch his stride a little bit. Not playing as cautiously at the very least. I mean, this is still an interesting Reaper path, but... yeah, he decides to go for a reactor here as well, and he'll be pumping out those Marines 2 at a time. Once again, going for the safety command center here inside of the main base, making 100% sure that he is not going to be caught off guard. Reaper now being annoying. He scouts the second pylon. Already a moment of relief right there for our Terran player, because, well, if Terran would be going up against the Protoss proxy, that second pylon would probably be proxied on the other side of the map. Twilight Council opener once again, though. A little bit of a deviation here from Gumi, as he wants to apparently now go for a Widowmine drop. I would say that the Hellion play has been excellent. I wouldn't mind seeing some more Hellions, but apparently GuMiho mixing it up ever so slightly. Okay. What's the idea behind this Twilight Council, sir? We made it. We have gas. Okay, that was so late. He could have literally started that up like maybe 10-15 seconds earlier. For some reason, though, we're gonna start it up later rather than sooner. Chrono Boost will be used as well, but that is an indicator that Has may very well feel a little bit out of this series so far. I mean, that is not the best start. Widowmine drop going across the map. Let's hope the reaction against that will be a little bit better. There is already a shield battery inside of the mineral line, but that is primarily to deal with any Hellions that could be coming across. Stalkers inside of the main base, though. Pylon over here as well to provide him vision of this plane as soon as it heads in. Boosts are activated. No reaction here from these Stalkers. Okay, no. Woo! Almost an absolute disaster there. Yeah, the Stalkers were not, like, they were in the right place. They were in the right place, and they certainly, yeah, they should have been there rather than over here in the natural, right? But they should have been moving aggressively into that Widowmine, obviously, into that medevac drop, just to, it would have gone down, right? He would have been able to get one additional volley off, and this medevac would have certainly gone down. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and now follow this up with a third Nexus as well. Fair enough. Reaper is on another third base location, but apparently it's not the one that our Protoss player opted for. Raven now also available in the northern section of this map, so wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be seeing an auto turret coming down very soon inside of that natural expansion. Okay, so Blink is finished. Observer is done. All of this feels a little disjointed, right? Like, I mean, if we want to go for a Stalker push, we really need to be here as soon as possible, because the longer you wait, the more units are going to be available. Now that second siege tank is out, that is going to shut a lot of this down. GuMiho, okay, did see the Stalkers moving on over in this direction. He did not see the Nexus. There you go. Confirmation. Raven just taking a little bit more time to accumulate some of that energy. It'll be able to drop 2 auto turrets now very soon. Reaper into the main. Yep, not bad. Just being annoying, right? Just being annoying. So now there are, yeah, 3 siege tanks available. What in the world are you going to do with this small group of Stalkers? I don't think a whole lot. Nope. Okay, so that essentially means that Has is saying, yo, you get to do whatever you like, because I'm going to be playing the macro game right now. That means, though, that GuMiho is the one who is feeling really solid at this point. I mean, getting 11 probes killed at this point in the game at the cost of, like, 1 Widowmine. Not bad whatsoever. That also means that for the first time in this series, GuMiho is the one that gets to decide the pacing of this particular game. And I think we're going to be seeing a move out as soon as Stimpack, combat shields, as well as the +1 infantry weapons upgrades finish. Those are going to finish up right around the same time. And it's going to be a significant power spike for those Marines in particular. The question is, how good will the defense be against that Marine push that is heading across the map here in about a minute or so? Prism coming up. 5 additional gateways as well. Still mining gas this time around, despite the fact that he's going for charge. Obviously, the Prism... Oh, okay. They stopped right at the tail end of that boost. Anyways, the Prism can also warp in a bunch of Stalkers. So, mining gas does make a lot of sense. Okay, so we're leaving the siege tanks at home. We're leaving the reinforcing Marines at home as well. Instead, we're just going to go for a full-on medevac drop. And it's going to... No! Okay, he does see it. Anyways, there's a Nexus already planted down right over here. Don't lose the Prism. Don't lose the Prism. Okay, recall used on the Stalkers as well. Now you kind of wish those siege tanks were in this location. Already, though, those Marines and Marauders pack a punch. We're going to need battery overcharge. Oh, he doesn't have energy for battery overcharge? Oh my god, he's been chronoing so aggressively. Okay, no, it does activate here in the end. He probably did that as soon as I started checking the energy count on those Nexi. Anyhow, you always want to have a little bit of energy left over. Now the reinforcing Terran units, though, are also coming across. With that recall, the siege tanks apparently felt cool enough to now also, well, roll towards the other side. Since now there's no pressure anymore on side of that main base, or on top of that main base of the Protoss player, the entirety of the Terran army has shown up, and that third Nexus is toast. Fourth Nexus could have been sniped easily by that medevac drop earlier. He decided to just bypass that one entirely. I think that Gumi is probably smelling blood in the water. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to pass it by again and just go straight into the main base. Maybe the natural. Probably not a bad choice either, but you can obviously elevator play into the main base very nicely too. Look at the reinforcements here. Just walking across the map. There's a blue line getting over here, okay? Siege tanks, ooh, not targeted down. Well, the first one was targeted right here, but that is too much. And just like that, the speed run of this Best of 7 series fails, as GuMiho obtains the victory 4-0.